For quite some years now, people have made pilgrimage to the Lassallean places in France, and we know that that's a very, very stimulating kind of experience. We know also that many Lassallians will never come to France and see these places, but they're important for us not just in terms of tourist places. They're important because they mark significant moments in the life of John Baptist de La Salle, the development of his work, his joys, his hopes, his sufferings, and in that sense they're part of a story in which we all share. And we hope, as we retrace with you these different places where he lived and died and was happy and was sad, that you will understand something more of the life of this great man. Perhaps one of the effects of watching these scenes may be to inspire you to read more about de La Salle's life. There are many levels of biography. There are very, very simple biographies written for 10, 11 and 12-year-olds. There are programs that are offered now throughout our schools. There are also very learned and studied examples of what de La Salle did. There exist in various languages now, the main languages of the Institute, all his writings and commentaries on these writings. There are many, many thousands of articles written about various aspects of the Lassallean mission of human and Christian education. Perhaps if this series helps you to understand something of the richness, diversity and importance of all these things, it will have been successful. As many more Lassallians now are not members of the congregation, but share in the work of the congregation and feel a certain sense of belonging to the work of de La Salle, it's important that something like this series may help them to understand some of the ways in which the work took the form that it did. It's one thing to read a book, another thing to hear somebody tell a story about it. Perhaps the story is better when the story is earthed in the very places where the work began, or the very places where he attempted things and succeeded, or attempted other things and failed. Perhaps in the very ups and downs of the story that we see the growth of somebody who believed passionately that everyone had the right to an education, and who believed that it was worth offering this in spite of those who opposed it. And this in some ways is the story not of this one man, but also those first brothers whom he inspired, and of all those generations of brothers which have led to the Lassallean works which we now proudly carry out in many, many different parts of the world. How interesting that many of you who will come on pilgrimage or will see this will come from countries that de La Salle never knew about, will speak languages that he never knew, but will understand perhaps something deeper about how the message that he passed on to us transcends time and languages and cultures and remains something centered very, very strongly on what it is to be offering a human and Christian education to young people.